Welcome back, adventurers to Beyond Passports. This episode's a little bit different. I want to talk about something that's fairly important that's come up. The United States Federal Aviation Administration on Wednesday said that it would cut flights by 10% across 40 airports in the United States, including major hubs such as New York City, Chicago, Houston, Portland, places like that. The FAA also said that the reduction is necessary to maintain travel safety as unpaid air traffic controllers are exhibiting signs of strain during the shutdown. The shutdown, of course, being 37 days, is the United States government shutdown. So laws aren't getting passed, things aren't necessarily being done. So there are reports that the plan is in place to exempt international flights, that the cuts will only apply to flights between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., and the FAA is also imposing drastic restrictions on space launches and general aviation. So private aviation, not just commercial. When Air Canada was asked, they said that they're offering a goodwill policy to allow customers connecting onto U.S. domestic flights with United Airlines to change or defer their travel with no charge fees. WestJet also stated that they're monitoring the situation, but that in its operations, they have not been impacted by the ongoing government shutdown in the United States. So no changes to their flights that they've noted right now. And Transport Canada also mentioned that they're aware of the situation in the United States and is closely monitoring it through its 24/7 operations center. The department also added that travelers leaving Canadian airports should check the status of their flights in advance. This, of course, includes connections. So if you're coming, say, from let's say from Europe, you're going from Europe to Canadian City and then down to the States, that could be an issue. Just make sure that you're checking with your airline providers at the time. North American air travel system is also integrated, right? So you have Canada and the US, as well as Mexico, that kind of use the same systems, right? So the American airport delays may also affect planes destined for Canada and could cause cascading delays throughout the Canadian system as the Canadian travelers fly through US airspace. So even if you're not going to the States at all, like when we flew from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, we flew over the States and we went right to Cabo on the western coast of Mexico. And obviously we don't touch anywhere in the States when we're going, but with it being US airspace, traffic control, they're limiting staff. There's a lot of issues at play. And that can affect, certain flights. So make sure you're checking with your providers to see if your flights are affected and what kind of workarounds there may be. I'll rattle off the 40 airports that are affected. So you have JFK International in New York, LaGuardia Airport in New York, Newark Liberty International in New Jersey, Teterboro in New Jersey, Boston Logan International in Massachusetts, Philadelphia International in Pennsylvania, Ronald Reagan Washington National in Virginia, Washington Dulles International in Virginia, Baltimore Washington International in Maryland, Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International in Ohio, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International in Georgia, Dallas Love Field in Texas, Dallas Fort Worth International in Texas, George Bush International in Texas, Houston Hobby in Texas, Charlotte Douglas International in North Carolina, Miami International in Florida, Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International in Florida, Tampa International in Florida, Orlando International in Florida, Louisville International in Kentucky, Memphis International in Tennessee, Chicago O'Hare International in Illinois, Chicago Midway International in Illinois, Minneapolis St. Paul International in Minnesota, Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County in Michigan, Indianapolis International in Indiana, Los Angeles International in California, Oakland International in California, Ontario International in California, San Francisco International in California, San Diego International in California, Seattle Tacoma International in Washington, Salt Lake City International in Utah, Anchorage International in Alaska, Denver International in Colorado, Phoenix Sky Harbor International in Arizona, Honolulu International in Hawaii, Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, and Portland International in Oregon. Those are the 40 airports that are affected by the FAA. that are affected under this issue in this plan of reducing air traffic by the FAA. I should have rephrased that a little bit better. Some notable ones there, obviously, you have the major airports in New York, you have the major airports in Boston, New Jersey, Dallas, Houston. You have huge airports also in Florida. We have Fort Lauderdale, Tampa. Also you have Chicago O'Hare, like a massive airport in Chicago. You've also got LA International, which is a gong show airport to start with. It's only going to get worse. And then you've also got, places like Denver, which aren't that busy. You also have Anchorage, which isn't that busy. You got to think, for people who work in like Alaska and remote jobs, they're flying usually from wherever they are in the States up to Alaska for the month or whatever they have their schedule on. This can affect them. You've also got people traveling down to the warm places at that time of year where your snowbirds are starting to go, right? So you have like Phoenix Sky Harbor, huge airport, and it serves that entire area along with LAX, right? So those are some big issues. If you want to go to Honolulu, you want to go to Hawaii, this can be a big problem, especially if you're connecting on a flight out of the United States. Even if you're just going, say, from Canada over to Hawaii, this can still cause some big issues. Another notable one, too, is the Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. Pretty big airports. Pretty big airports. It's a different video for the channel, but I think it's very important that people are aware of the issues ongoing with the aviation. And if you have a flight coming up in the next, it's already been 37 days with the lockdown, I'm going to say, or the shutdown, I'm probably going to say, if you have a flight within the next 2 months, anywhere in the States, or you're even crossing over the States, you're going Canada, Mexico, check with whoever your airline is, or if you have a travel agent, check with them and get them to check, because this can cause huge interruptions. You can miss parts of your trip. You can miss your trip entirely. So, a little bit different video, but I hope this was informative for you guys. If it was, make sure to like the video and comment if you're going to any of these 40 airports and what you think of this whole government shutdown affecting the air traffic. And not even just for, like, it's one thing if it was like, oh, small domestic airports. These are big time international airports, huge international airports, and one of the busiest countries in the world. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any other content on this channel. Actually, you know what, in the comments too, let me know if you like this kind of stuff, kind of sprinkled in and around the channel. If you do, I'll try and make more of it. Always, stay adventurous.